Hello and welcome. It's been a couple months since the release of my and, I assume, your new favourite card game, Star Wars Unlimited. And if this is releasing when I hope it will be releasing, it'll be a couple months until the release of Set 2, Shadows of the Galaxy. And I'm very excited. But before we move into the throes of Mandalorians and Wookiees, let's have a look back. Let me take you through my journey of the most important tournament of Set 1, the Store Showdown. Now, first things first, let's get to the important questions right off the gate. What did I play? And that is a very interesting question, because it was not an easy decision. I went through a lot of decks. My first deck that I went to, Blue Palpatine. Right at the beginning of the set, I thought I could lock that down, have a great time with it. It is a fun deck. Very fun deck. But then I played with it a little bit, tested it against a lot of things, and while it does have a very good matchup into a lot of late game decks, its matchup into aggro is, shall we say, lacking. And the thing that pushed me over the edge was, well, the moment you can see the light leave my eyes. Right here.
Claim. Pass. Ozzel.
Game.
Wow!
Yeah, so it turns out in a deck that doesn't run very well into any sort of aggression and is also quite exploitable by its leader flipping and sealing something, having requirements that want that being damaged is actually a major requirement. If you can work around it, it really hurts that Palpatine deck. I gave up on Palpatine. Moved on to Blue-Green Krennic. Blue-Green Krennic is a very interesting deck. It is a deck that does a lot of the same things Palpatine does, but has some key differences. Blue-Green Krennic at the time was running a very interesting late game strategy, trying to ramp up to things like Avenger, Reinforcement Walker, and get those cards out as quickly as possible, while having a much better early game matchup than Palpatine by the use of Krennic himself. His ability to have damaged units be able to trade up is huge, being able to trade units into things to stop that heavy aggression coming through. And also the leader himself being essentially restored 2 on a stick. It's extremely important, and against the aggro matchup, Krennic had such a better time than Palpatine. So I went with Krennic, right? No, I didn't. I didn't end up going with Krennic, and while I will throw out a couple of secondaries that I was thinking of at the time, Sabine being a key one, either green or yellow Sabine, both being powerhouses of their own, even mono red Sabine making showings at some of the store championships I went to. Sabine wasn't for me. And while some Spy Squadron members took Sabine to the finals, even winning store champs with it, Sabine wasn't my deck. And of course, Boba Fett. A beloved deck by many, moving from yellow-green towards the beginning of the set to that really nice mono-yellow deck that came towards the end. Towards the end, I was seeing a lot of those mono-yellow Bobas coming through in store champs, making it to finals, making it to winning the entire thing. It's a very, very fun deck, and I think that the fact that mono deck could make it that far is huge. I love that, and I cannot wait to run more of those mono decks in set 2. Now, I've told you what I didn't bring, what I didn't want to take. So what did I take? And to answer that question, we've got to move into blue-red Iden and the absolute storm that created when it came onto the scene. Now, blue-red Iden, you might be thinking is very, it's just like going to be Krennic, going to have that same kind of pieces. It's not. It's its own deck fully and completely, and only works with Iden. This deck says, yes, you can play your units and you can try to play the game. I will not join you in that endeavor. This deck says, I don't need units. Units are not for me. I need removal. I need removal and everything that removal brings to the table. And that's what this deck has. Some really key features in this deck are Avenger, absolutely huge for being able to close out games, and some of the only units in the deck, being Viper Probe Droid, Avenger, and Palpatine. But other than that, there is other cards in the deck that do a really good job of enforcing the deck strategy. The key one here is Super Laser Blast. Super Laser Blast is an absolutely huge card that has won me so many games. Being able to completely clear the board, especially when I have no units, is so huge. And being able to just end turns, being like, you could have killed me this turn. No. Nope. This is a completely clear turn. Is what really leads the way to Avenger being able to win games. After that point, they don't have a lot of resources left. They can only play one threat a turn, and Avenger just goes, awesome, I'm just going to jump down, and I'm just going to clear it out. And Vigilance. Vigilance as well is such a huge card for this deck. Paying 6 for it is perfectly fine. I'm so happy to pay 6 for it. And it just, healing 5 and killing something, or in these more control matchups, being able to go into the mill game is such a huge advantage that it completely shifted our meta and what we thought of control when this deck first came out. So this is what I took to my first Store Championships, and it served me well. I was undefeated in the Swiss rounds. And, well, as for my top 8 match, let's see how that went. As you see, we've drawn our starting cards for the turn. There's 2 cards in particular in my hand that I'm really looking at and wanting to keep, and that is the Entrenched and the Make an Opening. Make an Opening being very, very good against these Boba decks because it is able to deal with both Crafty Smuggler and 7th Fleet Defender, whereas Entrenched is able to deal with that Boba coming out. Now, I won the roll-off, but I decided to let him go first to see what he did. The Crafty Smuggler comes out, which I'm very happy about because I have that Make an Opening in hand to be able to deal with him, no worries. The first turn draws is pretty much as good as you can expect. I want to keep all of these cards, but I think the least one is that mission briefing. Everything else in my head is just too good to be able to throw away. As soon as he has placed his resource and is ready, unsurprising to a lot of you, it's straight away that Make an Opening, getting rid of that card. This Iden deck, obviously, that's what it does. Its core mechanics are making sure you can keep all your opponent's units off the board, and then being able to win with something big like Avenger swinging in for the game. He plays this Super Laser Tech, the Death Star DJ, and while it is very tempting to Power of the Dark Side this, or try to remove it in another way, I don't actually want to remove it this turn, because if I remove it this turn, he brings out Boba this turn because of his 4 resources, and that can be very dangerous for me. So I'm actually, with only Power of the Dark Side to be able to deal with the Starwing Scout, I'm actually not going to play a card this round. I'm going to save my cards in hand, cards and resources, and I'm happy to take that 2 damage to stop 4 damage coming in this turn, and I feel like that's a pretty good trade. Now, I draw really well here as well. Getting that open fire will make me be able to deal with the Consortium Star Viper, which is going to become a nuisance if I can't get rid of it. This turn I do need to make sure I keep those 2 resources open for the Boba flip. So you can see here I'm kind of putting that entrenched and that open fire right to the top. So the open fire comes out, just letting him know that that's untapped. And Boba flip straight away, which I'm very happy about because I can straight away throw that entrenched on. Do not want to deal with that Boba being able to get any sort of value here. Of course, my opponent has 5 resources and I am tapped out for this one. So we'll see what he plays here. We're hoping for not a lot, and luckily for us, it is that Bosk, which is not able to get that ambush swing that's so deadly with that Bosk. Bosk is a card that I'm kind of happy to see here, because not having very many units of my own, I'm not too worried about that ping of 2 damage. But again, it's a 4/5 body. It's going to be annoying to deal with. But we're just kind of stalling it away to get to that Super Laser Blast in my hand. As soon as we hit that Super Laser Blast, you're going to see the game completely turn to my favor. If we can get there, obviously. Now, there's a couple things I can do here. I decided to just flip Iden straight away. I know he's got that entrenched Boba sitting there, but he's going to have to swing something else into it if he wants to. He's not going to be able to untap 2 with Boba because killing my... obviously the leader doesn't leave play when it is defeated, so Boba does not trigger off that, so I'm not too fussed if he finds a way to get rid of it here. He's gone for the ramp, which I'm fine with at this point. I have the tools necessary to deal if he drops the fire spray this turn. Him going up to 6 isn't too big of a deal. Like, I know I don't have anything in hand to deal with it, but I've got enough life that I'm not too worried about him dropping it. So throw down the Power of the Dark Side. Both of these units can kill Iden, so it's up to him. He chooses the Boa because that makes sense, but it does allow me to keep Iden around, and Iden does trigger off that Boba dying. Now I'm just looking, I'm not feeling too threatened, I'm not feeling too worried, so I'm just gonna use that mission briefing in hand to refill my hand up, get more answers for future things to come. I am expecting that fire spray, but instead he's decided to ambush in the Steadfast Battalion. Luckily, in this situation, if I was him, I probably would have defeated the Boba, but obviously it's not. I'm not him, and as I said, I'm feeling pretty confident right now. He comes in for 4 with the Boba, also reminding me of the one that's sticking over from the Steadfast Battalion, and yeah, so he's got 2 units on board, the 4/5 Bosk and the 5/5 Battalion. Again, I'm not too worried. My life total here is very, very nice, and I've drawn some really good cards to be able to do with it. This bombing run isn't really going to be very useful, and it's what I'm going to be resourcing on this one most likely, because there's not a lot that... there we go. And there's not a lot that Boba plays that bombing run really helps with. His lower cost units usually have shielded, which means that he doesn't get affected by that sort of thing. But we're going to take it away here. We're going to Vigilance straight away. So that's the 4 damage from ambushing into my Iden, so I only had 1 health left. And I'm just going to heal straight up, healing the 5 damage and killing it. I'm not too worried about the mill game. I know Boba has a very hard time dealing with the Avenger when I do get to it. So it's one of those cases where I'm not really going for the mill out strategy. I'm going more of the control and then play out that Avenger and just keep that threatening damage. Healing up with Iden, as always, keeping my health total very, very low. I can start to see now that he is flooding the board a bit more. getting a lot of units, but we're getting right up to that 8 resources. So I'm not too worried. And drawing another Vigilance there kind of seals it in my head. I'm not feeling too worried about this particular match. And as you'll see, we're currently at the 8 resource mark. So chances are I'm just going to drop down this Super Laser Blast immediately and clear out that entire board. Yeah, just double checking my resources. Don't want to make a mistake in the top 8 game. And there you go, typing the 8, throwing the Super Laser Blast down, and this essentially ends the game here. There's not a lot that Boba can do, so we're going to move forward, skip to a little bit later in the game. It's 3 or 4 turns later. I'm not going to go over. Essentially, it just ends up being, he plays something, I kill it. He plays something, I kill it. But we're going to skip forward in just a second here to the end, kind of what finalizes the game, and that is that Avenger play. So I got the Palpatine down to kill it. He's played the Fire Spray, and the Avenger drops, taking out kind of his last hope. I have so much health left to chill out with, and that kind of ends the game there. Like, it goes on for another few turns after that, but it's just Avenger hitting it constantly. That's the top 8. But what about after top 8? I'm sorry to say, I failed you. I went into top 4 and I lost. I didn't even film it. I've let you down. My only chance to win with my red Iden deck.
Have you heard the tale of Mono Blue Iden?
What a blue Iden.
It's not a tale the Sabine players would tell you.
But a mono blue deck in set 1, there's not enough cards to...
Vigilance for 4.
On curve. Can help heal the aggro matchup.
Protector.
Onto Iden. It's genius.
Bendu.
Vigilance for 2.
Yes. Do it.
I have a chance.
Anyway, see ya.
Bye. Oh yes. Mono blue Iden. The cream of the crop. The final stage of this small journey through decks. The time when finally I locked down what I could do and what could be done. Mono blue Iden was the deck that I wanted from the beginning. Always running blue, never really sure where to go with it, but finally locked down the night before my final Store Showdown. So now begs the question. This mono blue deck, Vigilance for 4 is huge. Being able to bring things like Bendu, Protector into that aggro matchup, making me have such a better matchup into that. How did it go? How did I do? Did I manage to get that championship Mace Windu? Let's find out. So, take it now to round 1. The first round of the tournament. And I won't just show my wins, because this is one that I let slip out of my hands. But let's get into the game. As you can see here, the starting hand isn't great, but I have that Power of the Dark Side in my hand, and the I'm Your Father, which I'm pretty happy about. We are versing a red Tarkin. Starts off with the Stormtrooper, which is fine with me. I have that Power of the Dark Side to deal with it pretty easily, especially when he's not playing something else with it. Another Power of the Dark Side comes in. See, this seems like a really good start. And initially it is. We get immediately throw down that Power of the Dark Side. very happy with that. Save myself 4 damage, which is never something that you want to take as the Iden player. He immediately throws in the Super Laser Technician. Super Laser Technician is actually a really weird one for Iden because it kind of shuts off the power of the dark side, because obviously they're going to choose that, they're going to be able to ramp, and that's a problem. So I can't power the dark side whatever he's about to play, and I don't want to immediately power the dark side like I usually would if it was an aggro piece being played down. So I don't actually have any good cards in my hand to deal with this. This Super Laser Technician really threw me off here. And as you see now, I'm struggling with what I can do. Like, I don't want to power the dark side him. So I end up passing. He goes for the Seasoned Shore Trooper. And then we Vigilance it. Obviously, it was a lucky draw off the top there. Milling 6, because we can't get the heal here. And that's actually a pivotal mistake that I made here. As much as I needed to clear that off the board, not getting proper value from that Vigilance is something that's really going to come back to bite me later on in this matchup. But once again, he's plays Wolf, so I can't heal. And then I take the 2 damage. You can see Super Laser Technician get a couple hits in here, which is annoying. It's just one of those things about Super Laser Tech. Again, it really shuts off that power of the dark side. And I did learn later on in the tournament that I just needed to power the dark side. So that turn, I really should have just powered the dark side straight away, got rid of it, so that I could keep using other stuff, like actually getting use out of my stuff. Yep, he's got the Wolf and the Super Laser Tech. Again, I have no straight removal here. I don't have any of my takedowns. I don't have any of my vanquishes. So I'm kind of stuck on what to do. He's at 5 resources. Tarkin's coming down this turn, so I don't want to entrench him or anything just yet. It is a case where now I have to throw out that power of the dark side. And it's something that I really wish I didn't have to do, because obviously he's going to pick the Super Laser Technician here. He's going to go up to 6 resources. And Tarkin's going to be flipping soon. The good thing is he does have Wolf on board, which currently he can't buff up currently. But he just comes in for the 3 just to get some damage in and more bodies on board. And then he's going to be able to use those resources to buff them up. I heal 1, so that's pretty much all I can do. I'm waiting for that target to come down to be able to entrench it. Make sure that it can't keep buffing up the board like that. As the 5th brother comes down, really don't like seeing that. That does a lot of damage and will do a lot of damage. Now, as much as I would love to play the entrenched here, he's been stalling this turn out really, really well, and I just feel the need to have something on board. So I do end up playing this Viper Probe droid, seeing that advanced tie come down in his hand, which is not what I want to see. I should have passed here and gone with the entrench onto the Tarkin, especially seeing that advanced tie come down from the hand. And again, he's going to put the Tarkin down. I have no real way to affect it at the moment. It goes up, and that 5th brother is huge with 2 XP counters on him at the moment. He is a 4/6 base, which is not good. And here it's bad draw. Both of those cards are pretty useless in that matchup. And again, I have no way. I'm desperately going to try and get to this Super Laser Blast. But with just the entrenched coming down onto the 5th brother, I have to put it onto the 5th brother. I can't take that much damage. Unfortunately, it allows the Tarkin to kind of run free. And being now at 7 resources, the Fader comes down immediately because of that Super Laser Technician earlier. And he hasn't done the ambush first. He's decided to do the top 10 first, which is something that has been pretty prevalent. A lot of techs, such as the Death Trooper coming down to be able to ping something before you swing. That coming down here would be able to kill my Viper Probe droid and then have a full health Vader. So he's just deciding what to choose from those 10. and it looks like he's just going with the Snowtrooper Lieutenant, and then swinging in with that Wolf for 3 more damage, and then he'll ambush that into the Viper Probe droid. Very good play. I throw out the Iden here, but it's pretty obvious that she's not going to last very long on the field with that 5th brother there, and this board that he has is absolutely huge. It is not looking very good for me at all. Yeah, so immediately he swings in with the 5th brother, deals 1 to himself to deal 1 to me to ping the shield, and then just comes in for 5 over the top with those 2 XP counters. It's a tough one. This is I'm trying desperately to get to that super laser blast, but I have 6 resources. I still have a full another turn. It comes down to, can I survive the next turn? With 13 damage already on base, I have 17 left. I might be able to survive something. Another 2 comes through, so goes down up to 16, so 14 damage, and nothing. The super laser blast and the search your feelings, definitely not the cards that I wanted to see there. Nothing to be able to clear that board, and in the interest of time at this point, you can see me take a moment to contemplate. I could probably get through some of this turn, make him swing it out, but I realize there's just too much stuff on board to get to the next turn with any sort of health remaining, and you'll see me throw down the card hand here, thinking of playing something, and it's just, no, I need to save time here, I need to get to the next round, and I scoop it up, put my hand out, and that's it for that game. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Every now and then, you lose a match. It's normal, it happens. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how long you've toiled over decks. It happens. You gotta lock in. Mental is such a huge component in any of these tournaments. I'm gonna talk about it in every single tournament that's coming up. I'm gonna talk about it now. Your mental game, your ability to stay focused, is so important. I've seen too many fantastic players lose in their first round and not do very well in the tournament because of it. So it's hard. It's very hard. But as much as I would love to show you all the footage, unfortunately, once again, I'm still learning. I was not able to capture the entirety of the Swiss rounds, although there were some fantastic games in there. But I did manage to claw my way back. Make it through to the top 8, where I faced Luke Skywalker. Let's see how that matchup went. Green Luke. Very happy about this matchup, and this game is a very fun one to watch. Lose or win, you'll have to wait to find out. Unfortunately, we are cramped in a little bit for this one, so I apologize for that. It's a bit narrow, but hopefully you can see kind of what's going on and what's happening. My opening hand, I'm not too happy with it. This is after a mulligan, so fortunately I don't really have a choice to throw it back, but we will work with what we will. We have that entrenched there for the Luke, so we're probably going to hold on to that one until turn 5 when that Luke flips. And the Super Laser Blast is essential in this matchup. It's really, really important to be able to take out those U-wing reinforcements before they can really get going. I'm just waiting for my opponent to resource here. Obviously top 8, it's a difficult decision a lot of the time on what to resource, and that is one of the key skills about Star Wars Unlimited, learning what you can resource in certain matchups and what you want to keep in hand. And I respect anyone who takes the time to really think about it. The Battlefield Marine comes down, and I'll claim the initiative. We'll go to turn 2. And now this is a really interesting choice here. You'll see me and ah about this a little bit. You'll see me pull that entrench to the front. Do I want to entrench this Battlefield Marine? I don't really want him running around with a 6/6, even if it can't attack bases. I could also make an opening, I'm thinking here, to take it down to a 1-1 so that it's not doing too much damage this turn. But at the end of the day, I decide that neither of those options are exactly what I'm looking for. And so I'm just claiming the initiative here. I let him throw down his R2-D2. I'm waiting to grab that dice for when he swings with the Battlefield Marine. But he's playing down an R2-D2. He'll give a shield to it too and swing with the Battlefield Marine for 3. So he's got the shielded R2 and the Battlefield Marine. Now I got this Vigilance in hand, so I'm not worried about the damage at all. In fact, you can see me pretty quickly here. I'll tap that 4 and throw that Vigilance in immediately. I'm a bit quick on it. He hasn't resourced his stuff yet. Happens to the best of us, but you know, he's ready. I'm gonna Vigilance that. We're gonna kill it, and we're actually gonna mill 6 here. I could have healed the damage off, but I'm not too worried about the R2-D2 and end this matchup. And that's a huge hit here. You can see that U-wing reinforcement come down, get out of there. And that's a huge hit for this matchup. I only have so many super laser blasts. And if I have to use one to clear a Luke or something, when I run out of vanquishes, then it becomes really hard to deal with those U-wing reinforcements. Or if I only draw one super laser blast or anything like that. We get in a little bit of chip damage here with that R2-D2. And because we took out the Battlefield Marine, I heal up that 1. We're getting into the danger turns now for Luke. Getting into that 5, 6, 7 range. 5, not so much. I have this Vanquish to kind of get rid of any big things that he drops. But what I don't want to happen here is I don't want him to be dropping a Battlefield Marine and an Echo-based Defender, right? I don't really have any way to be able to deal with both of those units at this stage. And we're still a couple turns away from that Super Laser Blast. So I'm hoping he's going to drop like a Kanan down now. That would be ideal, being able to vanquish it. Healing 1 from Iden to negate the chip damage from the R2-D2. And hoping he doesn't drop a Battlefield Marine or Echo-based Defender or anything like that. We'll see him. I'm going too quickly. I keep thinking I have the... It reminds me that he, in fact, took initiative. And he's playing down the Wing Leader. Now, immediately, I don't want that anywhere near it. So I vanquish away the R2-D2. Now, this is kind of down... I really hope he doesn't play a Battlefield Marine now. I am out of resources. And I don't really have anything to deal with that on the next turn. The best I have here is that Entrenched. That'll hopefully keep that Luke at bay. I do claim the initiative. I don't want to heal that 1 and lose that initiative. I really want the initiative to be able to decide what happens next here. And I don't draw anything crazy. We're going to throw down the make an opening to kill the Wing Leader. That card is incredible in this deck, being able to heal 2 as well as get rid of something like the Wing Leader, those really annoying things. I'm just healing up here. I'm waiting for that Luke to drop so I can entrench it. I'm just kind of not wasting turns. I do that often with Iden, where I just tap her even when I haven't killed something to waste turns, but I did get the heal off here, so we're getting a lot of value. We're just praying and hoping that he drops the Luke here. We don't want to pass. Passing gives away a lot of information. It means you're like the opponent knows that you're waiting for something, and can kind of play around that. But we flip the Iden this now, and he copies with the Luke. Immediately, you'll see after I can find my shield token, I am going to throw this Entrenched down on Luke, and you'll see me do this in a lot of matchups that you might think is a bad thing. A lot of the time, you know, I'll put Entrenched on things while I have that Iden on field. And like, oh, you can just get rid of the Iden, but having Iden out on field is never the game plan of these sort of games. It's never what I truly need to win the game. So I'm happy for them to just throw units at Iden. It's mainly just a case of putting her out there as a pseudo target, and it means that if I can get a couple heals out of her, I'm happy. If I can't, obviously, I don't have any damage on my base, so I'm not strapped for healing right now. And so the turn goes by, and I claim the initiative. He passes it there. I have a couple of interesting things I can do here. The Power of the Dark Side is really good, but I really don't want the U-Wing reinforcements because we'll both be at 7 resources. So I'm tossing up between the Spark of Rebellion and the Power of the Dark Side. I go with the Spark of Rebellion because I really don't want that U-Wing reinforcements coming down. I end up, I believe I hit a U-Wing reinforcements there. Unfortunately, I didn't quite catch that on camera, I'm sorry. But I believe I hit a U-Wing reinforcements there, which I'm very, very, very happy about. Being able to get that card out of their hand is huge in this sort of matchup. And looking at what I'm looking at, I'm not too worried. I don't need something off the board right now. I'm happy for him to clear this Iden away. It's just kind of fodder that I'm happy for him to throw things at. And you'll see, I'm waiting for that Super Laser Blast next turn. I'm just going to claim. He's going to hit me a little bit. And then pass the turn, he actually doesn't have a play for that turn, which is huge for me. But at the end of the day, I'm going to Super Laser Blast anyway, so it was actually probably a good decision for him to not do it. Knowing he can't attack with Luke, though, I'm going to save that Super Laser Blast, taking care of the arc. Like, he can't swing into my base with that Luke. It's kind of just a dead card, so I can treat it as if it's not there. He throws down the Yoda here. I consider using the Power of the Dark Side, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm just going to heal one. He'll claim the initiative, and I'll pass there. I'm not too worried about using that Power of the Dark Side. If he wants to get rid of that Luke, then it's just kind of me wasting 3 resources in a card. That Luke is not doing anything for the rest of this game, just no matter what happens, because, well, I have no units to play down on the ground anymore. So I am keeping that in hand. I'm kind of waiting for something like a U-Wing reinforcement or a Luke legendary to be able to just Super Laser Blast and clear everything. I'm quite happy actually that he took the initiative here. There is times when you want them to take the initiative, but swings the 2, heals 2, but nothing to heal. I throw down the I am your father. I want to see what he wants to do here. He chooses to remove that Yoda. Correct choice on his behalf, and one that I expected, because if I had 3 more cards here, it would have been very disastrous for him. I throw out the Power of the Dark Side, just so I don't have to deal with it later. I have another Power of the Dark Side in hand, so if he does something, then I'm able to deal with it. So just getting that easy kill off the board, and then healing up with Iden. Now, 3 Super Laser Blasts is the end of this game. I've milled 1 U-Wing reinforcement and taken another out of his hand with that Sparkle Rebellion. And so with 3 Super Laser Blasts in my hand, I am just not worried. This is the other dangerous card, the Home 1. So with the inclusion of U-Wing reinforcements, Home 1, and Luke Legendary, there's just so much to have to kill. And I'm just immediately going to say, awesome, you want to play a bunch of stuff, buff up your Home 1, I'm going to say no to that and just completely get it out of here. But yeah, we're looking at this, I'm in absolutely no danger. I have all the removal that I could possibly want in my hand. My opponent is kind of drawing top deck at this stage, trying to get any semblance of a board state as he can. He has the initiative. He's going for that U-Wing reinforcement, the last one in his deck, and I'm just not too worried. I have bought 2 Power of the Dark Sides and 2 Super Laser Blasts in hand. This is a absolutely disgusting hand that I have here, but this is exactly the kind of hand you want with this deck at this stage of the game. It's one of those cases where when your opponents reach that kind of top deck stage, if you have this hand, there's just nothing they can do about it. It's so tough for them to be able to decide what they can even do in this situation. So he's played down the Echo Base Defender, Battlefield Marine, and an Arc. And the simple answer here is no. So that's essentially what this deck does. It's says no. It says no, you can't do what you're wanting, and this is really showing off the power of that Super Laser Blast, how strong that can be in any given situation. The cannon comes down, I claim, and you're going to see the concede come through here very soon because he knows that there's just nothing he can do at this stage. The Avenger comes down. He decides that, no, he's lost the momentum. He wants to go to game 2 to make sure we finish that. A smart decision. I'm so far in the lead here, even if he doesn't know what's in my hand. And that's it. A win! Through to top 4. If I told you how nervous I was, it would be an understatement. I was shaking. And not only that, I was versing one of the best players at our local scene, playing the same deck as me. Now, the mirror match, Iden versus Iden, I'm sure you all know, is not a very interesting one. There's a lot of waiting around, seeing what you can do. It's a mill matchup. It takes a long time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spare you from seeing 3 games, because it did go all 3 games, of both of us passing and drawing and vigilancing. And I'm going to take you to the last few turns of our final match and explain exactly how I managed to break through the Iden versus Iden mirror match and what I did to take the victory. The last 4 turns. Look at all these resources that I have. This game was ridiculous to the absolute extreme, but it's a really good showcase on exactly what you need to be able to deal with that. So I can see 1 restock there, and I'm go for it. The Vigilance takes out another restock from the bottom of the deck, and my opponent has only 1 option, and that's to use their final restock. And once again, Vigilance it away before they can do anything. And the real key here is if you have as many Vigilances as they have restocks, then there's nothing that they can do. So you'll see here, I take that away. He has 3 Vigilances in hand as well. So at this stage, it's one of the things where it could go down to both of us not having a deck. And one of the key things in this situation is having more life than your opponent. I know it doesn't seem like a huge thing in these mono decks, but having more life than your opponent is actually so huge. So we're both taking 6 damage here, and then moving on to the next turn. And essentially, this has become a game of chicken. Who is willing to take that damage? And so we take another lot of damage. We take another lot of damage. And it's come to the point where I'm going to start my plan. I have the 2 cards there that are so important in this deck. The Repair, healing 3. He follows suit with his own Repair to heal 3. And then comes the big gun. The Redemption, healing me for 8. Dealing 8 damage to itself, and that's what puts me ahead. So having more life means I can sit here and wait him out. He has to restock. He has to use that last restock in his hand to be able to get the more damage. And at the end of the day, it's a situation where he has run out of options. He needs to use that restock, otherwise we're both just going to be taking 6, and I will eventually win because of my higher life total. The last restock comes out. I have the vigilance for it, and that's the game there. So without any ability to restock his... All 3 restocks are in his grave, and both of his bounty hunter crews are both in his discard pile, and now I can just start using my restocks. I have all the time in the world. He takes the 6. I restock again. He vigilances it, but at this point, because I have more health, and I know that he doesn't have another vigilance, there was a I can just not take damage anymore. So I force that restock out via life and then ensure it gets vigilanced to make sure that the final stages of this game are mine. And that's really the entire game. No matter what happens during these games, it always usually comes down to these final turns, and being able to be the one to have more vigilances and restocks, and that's where cards like Bounty Hunter Crew, that's why cards like Spark of Rebellion are in the deck to help with that. It's an extremely tedious matchup, and it's a really tough one to be able to win, but if you keep that in mind of those key cards, it's really important. So making sure that they don't have the 3 vigilances for your 3 restocks, and making sure that you have 3 vigilances for their 3 restocks. We're now coming to the game of we all both have massive hands, we can all play units, we all have the removal for them. At the end of the day, there's nothing really that he can do at this point. It's just slowly weaning out, and the game goes to me. Moving on from that incredible match in the top 4, I went straight into my final match. Now, I dodged it a lot, but this was probably one of my worst matchups. The main bad matchup that I have is ramp green, being able to put down Relentless, but an easy second is this hyper aggro Sabine yellow that I came across in my finals. Now I was happy. I was happy with second place if I needed to, but I was going to fight to try to get that first place. Let's see if I make it. The finals, we're finally here, and it is against the yellow Sabine of my nightmares. This is immediately thrown away. I do not want to look at that hand. It is not what I wanted. This is game 1. Unfortunately, you'll only be able to see game 1 and a little bit of game 2, just due to the camera not working as I really wanted it to, but I'm really glad I got one full game in here at least. So you can see this deck in action, and it is a doozy. This matchup is extremely fun and extremely close, and I just need to be able to get the right cards to be able to deal with it. Now, this opening hand is going to be an interesting one. It's not good. Looking at this, it is not good. 2 cards here that I just do not use in this matchup at all, immediately going into the resources. The roll-off begins. I'm able to get it. I give him the initiative because I want to see what he plays. The layer comes down, untapping 1. I claim, and an R2-D2 comes down. I'm pretty happy with this opening. There's only 3 damage on board in 2 units. It's really hurt. It would have hurt the play of Power of the Dark Side, but I don't have it. And as you can see here, I also don't have a turn to play. I have the repair there, but until I have, like, I could pass and then get 3, wait for him to swing, but the repair is going to be much more handy later on. And so I'm just going to keep the cards in hand. I'm claiming, and then the Millennium Falcon comes out for another 3, so I'm stacking on damage early. Already at 8 damage, 9 damage when you, so 8 damage with the ping. But luckily for me, I have this Lieutenant Charleston coming down, and he's coming down big. He's coming down as a 6/6. I'm showing the Repair, the Vanquish, the Bendu, and the Avenger. So we're very, very happy with that. That Millennium Falcon, though, still going to be a problem. We are not looking forward to having to deal with that at all, especially when it's probably going to have to be the Vanquish next turn is what I'm thinking at this stage, unless I'm able to draw something better out of that. One thing that I can deal with it with is that maximum firepower. That was a recent addition to the deck. I think it's a fantastic addition to the deck with Charleston coming in, because both Charleston and Iden are Imperials, which means that you can just essentially deal damage equal to their strength, and if both of them are out, you can deal up to 10 damage to something, just taking it out. The Sailing Fangfighter comes down, knocking me down to a 5/5. I'm not too worried about that. It's still one of those situations where I'm pretty happy with it. He thought I'd claimed. I heal. He puts it on. He puts it back on with Sabine, and then puts the Sabine out to swing into him to take him out. And takes out the Sabine. I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy with that. Being able to take out 3 units against this Sabine is absolutely huge. And while, yes, I'm seeing a lot of that kind of space race, which can be tough to deal with, I've only taken 12 damage at this stage, and I have that Vanquish in hand, which is immediately going to get used to take out the Millennium Falcon. And he's already paid for that, which makes it even better. It means that while I'm taking 3 damage here, going up to that 15, I'm halfway through. I can heal a little bit, and also he doesn't have a lot to play this turn. So that fighter comes out, Rogue Operative, sorry, and the ping 1. Now I'm currently halfway through. I have 15 damage to go, but with the general lack of, like, Sabine can run out of steam very easily, and I can tell that it's starting to reach that point, whereas I'm just kind of ramping up. There's a lot that I can still do. We're going to make him choose between these two, Power of the Dark Side. He's probably going to choose one that does less damage, which is the Space, which I'm very happy with. And this Rogue Operative is able to, I wish I could just play that Bendu, but the Rogue Operative having Saboteur, it's just going to take it out immediately. I'm actually very happy with this. If he had gone into base, I would have been a lot more worried. Yes, I would have been able to take it out and live, but it's just one of those situations where I'm dealing with a threat with Iden anyway, and so I suppose it's better for him to not let Iden live and heal more, but it is huge that I'm able to get this much, and that was just a perfect draw, right? That System Patrol Craft is just absolutely perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to draw here, and I'm just gonna slam that down immediately. Exactly what I wanted, and exactly what I needed, and I'm still hovering at that 15 damage, not being able to stack too much damage on, unless he has somewhere to deal with this now, and it does, that Fleet Lieutenant come through, dealing the 4 damage, and I'm going to say, hey, do I get to draw 3 or does that die? He says draw 3, I say, oh, that's so perfect, and the 2 Vigilance on the draw seals that game for me. It's so good, and yes, I've gone up to a decent total of 20, but with 10 healing in hand and the resources to be able to play both of them, I'm not too worried here. So I'm probably going to go with the Super Laser Blast. Yep, and clear the board immediately. And then the turn after this is going to be a double drop of vigilance. The K2SO comes out, so I can't vigilance that, unfortunately, as much as I would love to. And the wing leader comes out to buff it up a little bit more, and pings one with that. I really don't want to take 6 damage here, seeing as I'm already at 21, but I don't have much of a choice, so the only way to really deal with that is to have the Charleston come out. I need some way to... I don't want to show off those vigilances just yet, but I need to stop that K2SO from coming through. And yeah, he can kill it with the K2SO, but my ability to then deal with that and only take 3 damage off it is huge. If he had been able to come in through with something like a heroic sacrifice, that would have been game right there. Because it would have been 11 damage, which obviously would kill me. So we're going 2 overwhelmed, so we're taking 5 damage off this thing. We're going all the way up to 26. Now, at any moment I can lose. Any buffs on this I can lose, so I need to get that vigilance out, take it out, heal that 5, go down back down to 21. 21 is still such a dangerous number. I'm going to be discarding a card. I'm really hoping it's not vigilance, and it's not, thankfully. I was able to keep that vigilance in hand, as I take a little bit more damage from that Sabine, and I'm able to stabilize here by taking out the Lethal Insurgent. Being able to take that out with make an opening is huge. Healing that too, and puts me in a really good position. I'm not too worried about that Fleet Lieutenant on board. Now, the Wing Leader coming down does change my plans. I really don't want to take that 5 damage, so I'd love to play the Vigilance, but I've got to take this thing down. Otherwise, that 5 damage is just too much. With already on 20, that's half of my remaining health. And if he has another way to deal 5 damage, which this deck has a lot of cheeky ways to get that last bit of damage in, it's just super, super rough. So we're going to see I just want to get rid of the cards in hand, do the best that I can to be able to clear that as much as possible. Just stop him from... He got the surprise strike, he's got the shoot first, he's got the all kinds of ways, heroic sacrifice, all kinds of ways to do more damage. And we're going to see Bendu coming down to protect that ground area, and with 10 resources in hand, I still have the 4 for the Vigilance, which is going to come down to remove that A-Wing. Healing me up. He does not have the cards to be able to keep this one going, so that's a scoop from him, and we move on to Game 2. Now, Game 2, I'm not going to be able to show you the full of Game 2. I was able to get through that Game 1, which I'm really, really happy about. I was feeling confident. Moving into Game 2 now, we have that Power of the Dark Side for that turn 2 play, thank God. The X-Wing comes out, and the ping 1-1. I'm not too fussed about Super Laser Blast in this matchup. It doesn't do nearly as much as a lot of the other things. The Power of the Dark Side comes out. We're both very, very nervous. You can see my hands shaking. We're playing quickly. We're trying to get it done. Hoping to draw something off this here. Another ping of 1-1. Hoping to draw something to get rid of that red 3. I don't, so it means I'm probably going to have to entrench it as much as I really don't want to. Mainly because I really want to entrench Sabine if possible. But by the looks of it here, I have that Lieutenant Charleston, which is going to come down immediately to try to stem the flow of this aggro. I show him all the Sentinel in my hand and make him a 6/6 once again. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of what recordings I could have. This game was very, very interesting. I wish I could show you the whole thing. but unfortunately the camera did overheat, which meant that I just wasn't able to get that footage for you. But essentially the rest of the game goes pretty similarly. I have all these sentinels on my hand, and I'm able to play most of them down in the end. I get Protector, Iden with Bendu, and Assistant Patrol Craft. And well, my opponent was fantastic and played a fantastic game. The game slowly weaned out, and with all these sentinels, it was impossible for him to get any sort of damage through towards the end of the game, making this a 2-0 in my favor for the final match of the night, which means just one thing. Victory! Victory was mine. I was able to cut through all of the rabble. I was getting to top 8, top 4, and the final to bring this mono blue deck that I was so proud of to victory. It was incredible. It was so amazing. I'm floored by the competition that I had, and floored by people who put on the competition. I would like to thank Vault Games for the store championship that I went to and was able to come out victorious. I would like to thank everyone that I versed. I would like to thank all of you for watching this video, and I would like to say, let's bring on set 2 and see what tournaments, what strategies, what deck building opportunities, and what journeys happens next set. I'll see you all there. Bye.